Right, I'm hoping that this broadcast will be a little bit more stable as it relates to the video and everything. For the young people and the college students from Wisconsin and also throughout all of America, technically speaking, to consider how you vote because one day you're going to be inheriting a country and it will be the result of how you're voting. How you think is going to determine, of course, who you decide to vote for. But what kind of nation do you really has lower taxes, that has job security, that's full of jobs, or do you want to be dependent on a government like some of these socialist regimes where there's laziness and where people can't really prosper, where you run out of other people's money, where you're divided against rich and poor, black and white, always bringing division? And I see this in the Democrat Party today. Is that the kind of nation? Technically, you don't really see Republicans dividing people by race. Technically, you hear it from MSNBC, which is a Democrat-controlled socialist type of television network, and you hear from CNN. Every time you watch the news, they're always talking about racism, racism, hatred of Trump, hatred of Trump, hatred. I have never in my years have ever seen a media so. At least they would talk about other news, but every time you turn the TV on, it's okay, let's talk more about hating Trump. Trump, Trump, hate, hate, hate. It's like the media is a tabloid. In the brilliance of Trump, perhaps, it seems to me that our media is nothing more, has been turned into a mere tabloid of yellow journalism. It's not real journalism anymore. It's just advocacy. Journalism and propaganda, a hatred toward Trump. And that's not media. That is not journalism. There's other things going on in the world besides Trump. And yet these people talk about, oh, we voted for Trump because for his personality. It seems like the left is more personality driven than ever before, just like they were with Obama. They said, oh, they made Obama into almost like a Greek god when he was elected. They put all these columns and Coliseum and stuff like that, and Corinthian style stages and stuff, and everyone with students in high school, actually elementary schools, singing to Barack Obama like he is the messiah of something, and they're praising Barack Obama. It's ridiculous. And that's the personality driven system. And that's a cult. College students, are you in a cult? Are you in a location where you're being basically coerced to believe a certain way? If you don't believe a certain way, you're going to get your grades knocked, you're going to get harassed, humiliated. Are you in a cult, college students, when you're told what to think, not how to think, but what to think? And then if you don't think that way, if you don't think like a socialist or communist or have this panacea in your mind, you're being victimized. You're being harassed verbally. You're being attacked and demeaned and bullied in your colleges. And the teacher won't let you to think for yourselves. Then you are in a cult. You're being coerced. You're not told how to think, how to process, and then you hash it out, what's right, what's wrong, you're told, and then you are bullied, and you were told that America's a racist society. When you see the puppetry of racism is being taught in your own school, for goodness sake, they're teaching you something called white privilege. You're automatically taught that whites are the privileged class and then blacks are the less privileged class, and that they're all victims, which keeps them more into mental slavery. And you're doing that intentionally. The people who are teaching you that are the racists. They're the very ones who are teaching you to be racist. You've got to open your eyes. You've got to see that the racism is within your college campus, and you need to revolt. I'm calling for a revolt, a revolution in every single college campus. And these high-paid teachers who are literally taxing you to death, wanting you to buy their college healthcare systems while they're living high on the hog in your debt. And they're teaching you classes that don't prepare you for the real world. It's time for you to revolt. It's time for you to revolt against your Marxist socialist college students, your Marxist socialist college professors, and tell them, hey, I'm not going to be living in a socialist dictatorship. But that's revolt against your college professor. You revolt against your socialist teachers, and you say, no, that's not the America I want. I don't want to hate my country. What's the matter with you, teacher? I want to love my country. I have genes, and we have genes from different nationalities in the past. Even every black person pretty much has some Indian, and many of us have some Caucasian in us down the and have a nervous breakdown because we have white in us? No, we are responsible for our own actions, and it's the Democrats, the lawless Democrats, who don't want us to think that we're responsible for our own actions because they think like criminals. That's how criminals think. They're never responsible for their actions. They can do whatever they please, and they can run roughshod over everybody. But that's not the kind of nation you want. You don't want a lawless nation. You want a nation of law and order where people are responsible. Responsible people own things. Responsible people can handle things, handle the real world. Responsible people have communication with one another, even those they disagree with. CNN, MSNBC, the news media that many of you young people in colleges are being told to watch all the time, when it's all full of hatred. Hating people is not the way of life. And this is what yes, you, Democrats, are being taught to do. You're being taught to think through your emotions. You're being told that Trump is the worst thing that could ever happen to America. And the reality is that you are being victimized and you're being mind controlled to just hate, hate, hate. They say, love Trump's hate. No, you just love to hate. You just love to hate. And that's the problem with the Democrat Party. They're creating a cult. And when you're in a tight knit group, we're told how to think, we're being bullied and ostracized just because you want to use your mind and think with your own thoughts, and you're being ostracized for that, then you don't realize that you're in a compound, a cult-like compound that's designed to keep you restrained and contained and controlled. I'm calling you to revolt against that system of imperialism. I'm calling you to revolt against the system of fascism, because that college experience you're experiencing now is a microcosm of what the Democrat, socialist, liberal, progressives want for the whole entire nation. They want us all to be one big cult, government cult, where we worship government, not the God of our choosing, not the God who created seen and unseen, but they want us to be in some sort of weird cult where government is God, where it's the highest authority. And we're not allowed to think for ourselves. We're not allowed to believe what we want to believe. And that's coercion. Yes, America started as a Christian nation and began as a Christian nation because we believe that people have the freedom and right to believe what they want to believe. It's a land of freedom. Freedom. If it was a socialist atheist dictatorship, they can't trust anybody because they know how sinful people are. So what they do, they put controls on people. If they don't do exactly what you want them to do, then they bully you. They penalize you with higher taxes. Oh, we're going to get you with fees and stuff because we don't want you to think a certain way or believe a certain way. And they punish you for freedom. They don't want you to have freedom. So as country do I want? Do I want a continually racially motivated country, or do I want a nation of freedom, of law and order, where we're innocent until proven guilty? You saw how they treated Kavanaugh and all these people that came about. This is the kind of kangaroo court system that the socialists want. They want to bring instability to our laws, instability to America, so that eventually we're given all of our power, all of our rights to a centralized government. That is not the kind of America you want, and therefore you've got to vote Republican. You've got to vote Republican and see with your own eyes that's imperialistic. There's a land of fear and tyranny. But you know what? The Democrats in there are creating it for you. They're creating that system of fear so that one day you're going to vote for a system of fear and control, just like you had in your college years. And you think that's going to be comfort because you don't have to think for yourself. No, that is slavery. And it's time for you to revolt. And you want to get your money's worth. You want to get a job. Why even go to college if you don't even want to get a job, man? Why even go to school if you don't want to work? Why pay all that money? So if you want a country that's going to give you a job, a country that's going to give you income, that's going to provide the freedom for you to prosper, you're going to want to vote for a party that's going to be low taxes and it's going to promote job growth. We have record number of jobs in the history of America under Trump, just the first 2 years, record numbers of people are working. Why are you not working? Why are you not working? Why are you listening to college professors who are basically stuck on the dime? They're socialists. They're dependent on you, college students, and you're listening to these college professors tell you how you need to live? No, they are dependent on you, and they're dependent on your debt, and they don't care how much debt you rack up. They're going to treat you like a slave until you're 40 because of all the debts, hundreds of thousands of dollars you're being told to pay to these high-priced college professors who's going to retire rich, filthy rich, along with the rich university professors and the presidents and those filthy rich celebrities and the filthy rich George Soros and the socialist billionaires. You are a slave under a socialist plantation. No matter if you're black, white, Latino, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. When you're under socialism, you're in the plantation. It's a plantation of the rich, and the liberal rich have you under their control, and they want you to think like a victim at all times. And you got to revolt against that system. Join others to revolt and vote Republican, because Republican is a party of freedom, freedom from slavery, freedom from coercion, freedom from tyranny. Republican Party is a freedom party. If you want to fight for your freedom, then you want to vote Republican. If you want constitutional liberty when you grow up, you're going to want to vote Republican. That's right, Blackish, so the actor back. Republican. Say that with me. Republican, 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 Republican. It's a republic, not a dictatorship. We're a nation of law and order. That's why we're Republicans. We're Republicans because you're innocent until proven guilty. That goes with Cory Booker, who was just accused of sexually harassing a man, a young man. You probably heard about it. It probably didn't even make the news or something, but it's out there that yes, right. Barbara Scott said Republican, exactly. Cory Booker was just charged or accused of raping or molesting a young man. That's right, a young man. Cory Booker, the senator, and I think this is his name, Cory Booker. Yeah, the senator, Cory Booker. Cory Booker, here he was attacking Kavanaugh, accusing Kavanaugh of everything under the sun. All these women were coming forward and everything. And all of a sudden, he did not give Kavanaugh an opportunity to defend himself. He said all these women were just accusing him. So that him and his hateful self, just blaming Kavanaugh, the guy who ran for the Supreme Court nominee. And now look at Cory Booker. He's been accused of raping and molesting a young man. That's right, a young man, the Senator Cory Booker, who wants to be president. And he's now being accused. Now will Cory Booker use the same standards that he did for Kavanaugh? No, I betcha he's going to say, "Oh, I'm so glad I live in America, a land that we're innocent until we're proven guilty." I wish you had that opinion when Mr. Kavanaugh was going for the nomination. I wish you are being accused of working with Russia, working with China, having indentured servants who are Latino in your courts, in your homes. And you say, I want to be proven innocent. I want to be innocent and proven guilty. You hypocrites. This is another reason why we don't vote Democrat, because it's full of hypocrisy. They're full of actors with their masks. They say they're one thing, but they do a whole other thing. They say they care about black people, but yet they promote the system of slavery in America. They use the black bodies that were in the South in order to prop up the South's representative numbers. Because when it comes to census, it's all about bodies, all about numbers of people. So the more people you have in there, a certain area, you get more representative power. Those are Democrats. They're people who only care about power and control. They never cared about the person in need or the minority. They use the minority for their power, just like they're doing with Latinos today. They're using this this migration from the South to get Latinos to be more bodies in their cities so that they can have more representative power. And in some cases, they don't care if they are able to vote. They do ultimately care that these people are able to vote because they want them dependent. They want dependency for the Polish. When the English came, basically when the Europeans came over from different parts of Europe came over, what did the Democrats do? They used them as voting instruments. They kept them dependent. They had the unions to go out there, knock on the doors to vote a certain way. They coerced them. They bullied them. And that coercion will not work because more people are going to wake up. And they are waking up. Many Democrats are waking up. They say, hey, we can't live under a coercive system because that's the kind of future we're going to have. What system is coercive? It was a socialist system. And that's the system that the Democrat Party is implementing. They even call themselves socialists, for goodness sakes. Even the chairman of the Democrat Party is a card-carrying member of the Communist Party USA. That's Tom Perez. Now, if that doesn't tell you anything, that's a wake-up call. Do you want food lines, bread lines? We're so in need of government services where it's a big welfare system, or do you want to live in a freedom system, of economic prosperity where everyone can make more money and they're free to make as much money as they want to, and money is not being something that's attacked. People need to walk away. People, walk away, people, and vote red, vote Republican. Use college students. If you want to live in a system like that, then leave the country. My goodness. If you want to see a system like that, go to Cuba right now. Live there. Go to Venezuela where they're eating their dogs and cats and their zoo animals. Go and see what poverty really looks like under socialism, where there's government control. If you believe a certain way, then you're killed. How about all of the, in Central America, where you have the journalists, you attack Republicans, you attack the freedom of speech, and yet you bully and coerce people. Do you realize that if you were in South America right now, you would be killed? The drug cartels have so much power right now that they are killing journalists right now. This is not happening in America, but you project a society like that because you're being manipulated. Society like that, a social society, a tyrannical society. We don't live in tyranny. We live in a world of freedom, but it's that very socialist dictator that you're trying to buoy up. You're a fascist. I'm telling you now, MSNBC and CNN, you're nothing but a fascist news media organization of propaganda without its fascist leader, because a fascist leader will be socialist, will be communist, and you are pushing every communist country, every communist cause, every socialist cause, everything that makes Russia great again, and you are discrediting your own institutions because of your philosophy. And many of you all don't even realize it. Young people, when you go to school trying to be a journalist and things, why would you want to believe a media like MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, all those kind of things, and MSNBC, just to destroy your own institution of freedom of speech? Don't you realize that with something called political correctness, there is no freedom of speech? You don't have freedom of speech. Is that the kind of nation that you want to grow up in? Is that the kind of place you want to live in? No, but you're the future. When I get older, you're gonna have to take over, and you're gonna say, what did I do? How did I invite this kind of terror to come to my country where I don't have the freedom to bear arms, where I can't protect myself? Because you voted socialist, you voted Democrat, and ever since the communists took over the Democrat Party after they assassinated John F. Kennedy and they killed the civil rights leaders and they took the civil rights movement over, now they're trying to push a socialist agenda where they make sure that you don't have the power to protect yourself. You don't have the power to increase in wealth. You don't have financial power, financial security, the ability to raise your own children like you want to raise them. That's what the Democrat Party has become. So I encourage you, young people, vote Republican, rebel against your college professors. It's just like there's a revolution that happens in Iran because there's a socialist dictatorship. There's a regime up there. That's a religious regime. And there was people in China who revolted against a regime of tyranny and stuff. You need a revolution in our colleges to protest your teachers, to protest being victimized just because you want to think for yourselves, because you want to learn something. You want to be a problem solver, not be a problem maker, but a problem solver. Not just join a mob of people tearing down statues so that you forget the fact that the Democrats were the founders of that racism that you claim that's on those statues, so that you forget that the Democrat Party is still the party of slavery and racism today. They'll have you bowing your knee to the national anthem. They'll promote these football players bowing their knee as the national anthem is being played. What are they doing? They're bowing down to government. Every time people like Kaepernick were bowing down. All these football players, these black football players, bow down to your government, bow down to the tyranny of government. As the national anthem is played, I want you to bow down to it. This is what socialism does. It will have you worshiping your government instead of worshiping your God. They'll have you worshiping government, and they'll put government on the throne of your hearts and not God where he belongs. And your professor will try to put yourselves on there, which is why you put government on there. And that's the problem with all that system. So here you got these people bowing down. They're training you. They're doing this intentionally. The people who created the system of cultural Marxism is what it's called. They're training you to be a good peon, a good slave to your government. And you need to revolt. So, without further ado, I'm calling you to vote Republican this year. I don't know when the Democrat Party's ever going to get their act together or ever change, but until then, it's just time to vote Republican, vote red. We need every college student. If you're going to want change, if you want to see change, if you don't want to see the kind of racism that's going on your campus today and the coercion that's going on your campus, which is a microcosm of what the Democrat Party wants for the entire nation, then you need to vote Republican, vote Republican, vote Republican, 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 because the racist is a Democrat. The terror supporting person is a Democrat. You had over 30 shootings against Republicans recently. Just in this 1 year, Republicans, conservatives being attacked. Talking about real threats, and you have this fake crazy pipe bomb guy, and all these pipe bombs were fake. They didn't have the right postage. If it was a pipe bomb, it wouldn't take no 6 stamps. Get for real. You look at all those packages with 6 stamps on them. You think a real pipe bomb is going to take 6 stamps, and that pipe bomb's supposed to blow up things? That guy was crazy. None of his stuff was even meant to hurt anybody. But yet the media talks all about a guy's little baby pipe sent out, which is probably like a battery. It looks like a piece of cellophane and plastic and stuff. And you all are allowed to get away with shooting Republicans. The left is allowed to bully and attack and harass. And there was a shooting that just happened in over there in Florida recently at the GOP headquarters. There was a massive shooting. And where's the media? They're saying the Antifa, they're such good people. And yet the Antifa people are almost burned down different parts of the country. Those Antifa people had blacks burning down half of Milwaukee, trying to burn down the black neighborhoods. And yet that George Soros that funded them, who also hated Jews, by the way, being a Jew himself, who worked for Hitler, the media gives him a pass, and all the money he sends to liberal causes a pass. George Soros, look him up. He supports liberal causes, folks, and he was a Nazi. This guy was a Nazi. What does Nazi mean? National Socialist Workers' Party. That really sounds a whole lot like Democrat, doesn't it? Socialist, workers, union, party, national. That's the Democrat Party today. That's why young people were clapping and cheering when they heard Mein Kampf being read in English, Hitler's own writings, because you all don't realize that you're being coerced into becoming a brown shirt Nazi yourselves. You're already devaluing human life. You already think life doesn't happen except outside the womb. And some people think, well, you should be able to kill life outside the womb too. If you're going to discard the preciousness of the most innocent among us, you will have no problem having the people who are living, breathing air outside of the womb, having them killed. And you're being brainwashed. You're being brainwashed as a brain could be washed. You are being brainwashed just as like all the various cult leaders like Koresh and Jim Jones brainwashed their people. This is that study, and this is happening to you. You're a case study. You are a basket case study in your colleges. and they are paying attention. And the donkey party don't care. It's like, exactly, Barbara Scott. The donkey party will make an ass out of you. Oops. I mean, literally, they'll turn you into a donkey. If you keep following them, they'll turn you into an ass. They will turn you, and you'll be looking up your, well, I'm not going to go any further on that train of thought. But you know what I'm saying? You've got to use your mind. You can't think out your butt and think the whole world stinks, because your thinking is what stinks, and it's got to change. I invite you to vote Democrat. All you Democrats, I invite you to vote Republican. All those who vote Democrat, I invite you to vote Republican. Again, all those who vote Democrat, normally I invite you to vote Republican, because the Republican Party is a party of freedom and liberty and justice for all. And I thank you all for your time. Vote Republican, vote Republican, vote Republican, because this nation needs a change. And you can see how your college campuses are right now. It's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. It's a microcosm of what is going to end up happening to the whole nation after you get out of college. Prayerfully, there are enough of us who is able to stop it. But only you, young person, can stop it at the hub, at the beginning, and that's at your college campuses. Revolt. I say revolt. Join other organizations and revolt against your socialist tyranny in your schools, and vote Republican everywhere you live. Invite others to as well. Thank you, and God bless America.